Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Taking Up Space, a Michelle A. Mayer podcast. Always excited about coming forward, y'all. Today is absolutely no different. Today I got my days straight. I know it's podcast day. Yesterday I was busy doing stuff. This product launch is underway. I'm fine-tuning everything, and I get lost in my creations. I'm one of those people that when I focus everything on what I'm, engaged in. And I forgot yesterday was Bible study. I thought it was another podcast. So it's like that sometimes. But we're able to pivot, which is a very popular word nowadays, but we're able to pivot on the dime because we know what we're talking about. This is not scripted. This is not anything that I'm reading from verbatim, a line by line kind of thing. I'm just going for what I know out here. It's just all from the heart, all from the spirit, all from the soul. So I do have some notes that keep me on track, and I'll be using them today, to convey the message. Today I'm going to be speaking to how separation and isolation is so important. In my life, y'all, I've always been the black sheep. I don't care what dynamic I'm in, I've always been the black sheep. Whether it's the black sheep of my family, I'm very loved. I don't come from an unloved environment, but I've been the black sheep. I'm the black sheep. And I'm the one that reads between the lines and speaks on what I see. That's kind of who I am. And I'm not timid. I'm not afraid of it. And, I'm not problematic. But, if anything gets to a particular threshold where somebody needs to say something, but nobody's not saying anything, I'm going to be the one to say it. So I'm the black sheep in that aspect. So I've always had this ability to be cool with not being accepted. It could be, many of you I know can feel me on this. Like when we were coming up, some of us came up in a way where, like when I was coming up, you really had to kind of carve out your own area. It was no social media when I was coming up. I couldn't lay up in the room like my daughter does. She'll lay up in that room all day in the dark on that phone. She'll go between the TV, Amazon Prime videos, or that phone. If you let her, she'll do it. Whereas for me, I didn't have that. I had to get out there and explore the world, hop on the bus, and get to moving around or walk around and let my feet lead me to where I needed to go. So in doing that, you come in and out of experiences and you get challenged by other people face to face. They want to know who you are too. And you've got to show yourself. It doesn't have to be an aggravated or aggressive kind of way, but you got to show who you are to people in real life, like waking, physical, tangible life. And it's got to add up, because if it doesn't, people will challenge you. People will challenge that. And you've got to rise to the occasion to protect that and to make that manifest in your life for real. And so I noticed that it has been my experience that the isolation, the aspect of my life where I was separated from the comforts of the community, I was, taken away from my friend group, not by any other method except for my own choice. Whether I moved to another state or I disengaged communications with people, not because we fell out or anything like that, or it could have been, and it just elongated and it grew into a way of life. But it was these aspects of being separate from people, separating myself, isolating. What would start off as separation would turn into isolation. It would be as if God was sitting me down somewhere by way of separation, and then it would be extended. It would be like whatever the issue was that made me separate from whatever group or community or family or whatever the situation was that I was dealing with. was the catalyst that caused me to get to my corner and sit down and isolate and separate. But then it would be other things that would unfold in my life that would make what I thought would be a temporary separation turn into isolation. The things would compound themselves upon one another. And at the time, I would feel horrible about it. I felt as if I didn't have any support. I felt as if I really didn't have true people of interest in my corner. I felt taken advantage of. I felt overlooked. I felt like I know who I am, but who I am is not being noticed because the people that I'm surrounded by don't really know that aspect of me. They only know me from what I'm dealing with now. How many of you have been in this? Where your highlights were amongst a whole nother demographic of people. Your successes, your honorable reputation is amongst a whole nother group of people that the people you're currently surrounded by don't know, aren't privy to, and they know nothing of your highlights. They only know how they were introduced to you. And they were introduced to you in your isolation period, where God is stripping you away of everything. There is no physical remnant of your successes. You don't have anything tangible to reference to prove your successes. And you have no one around you that can vouch for you. In fact, the people that will be around you that can vouch for you at times won't, because they'll see you in a predicament and they'll think, oh, she'll never come up out of this. Oh, he'll never come up out of this. And now it's my time to shine because now I'm up, or what I consider up. This is the point in your life where you are introduced to the power of the God within you. Friend, I have been in these situations more than I care to discuss. In fact, I have become wholesome. I have become comfortable in these spaces, friend. I've come to know the power of these spaces. See, it's these spaces of separation that turn into isolation that grant you the wings that you need to soar and fly high like an eagle. You are given wings to soar to heights that others can't go to. Yet it takes isolation to be able to forge those wings. Why? Because they come from internal knowing, internal relationships that you have with the God within you. And a lot of times God cannot speak to you in the way that God needs to speak to you while you are surrounded by the noise of the group or the people of your life. God cannot show you true, authentic power while you're surrounded by the successes of your youth. The successes of your youth were all elementary steps that you needed to take to get to a place of knowing regarding the processes and the procedures you need to take in order to build in this world. You go from a child to an adolescent to a teenager to a young adult, all this kind of stuff. You go through that and you go through all the different dynamics you need to internally build yourself up mentally. But then after you've gone through all of that, if you're lucky in this lifetime, God will separate you. He will isolate you. And God will wipe away all the remnants of the successes of your youth. God will wipe away your reputation. I don't care how great it is. God will put you somewhere where nobody will know you, friend. And you will be introduced to people in another way where you don't stand in the regality or the power of your youthful experiences that you've built up along your way in life. You are reduced down to ground zero again. And that is the right place that God has for you if you're lucky. If you're lucky, friend, because it's nothing but a blessing. And God will establish you in isolation. Your frustrations will lead you deeper to your knowing of God. You will long for a connection with something greater. You will search true power. You will know what it's like to think, okay, I'm going to build this thing back up again with outside power. Because that's what you built it up with in the beginning, was outside power, coupled with internal. But you were doing it blindly. You didn't do it intentionally. So you don't really know the method in which you did it. You weren't really able to study it. Yet now God, if you're lucky, will separate you. And with the experience and wisdom of your past that nobody knows of but you, this new test, this new leg of the journey will test what you paid attention to along your way in building yourself up from your youth. And in the silence and in the frustration, God will partner with you. And God will show you you. You no longer have the collective. All you have is you. And in God showing you you for an extended amount of time, if God sits you in that corner of isolation for an extended duration of time, you will come to love that corner, friend. That you will make that corner your fortress. It will be fortified, friend. It's a vortex of your power, all your own. So that when you come out of that corner, you're like David. You're real particular about who you have around you. I don't need all of the stuff that I thought I needed before. Nothing against it. It's great. It served me in that season. I've moved beyond that. I've had a tremendous experience on top of one another that I can't deny and that I refuse to betray. That I stand in the truth and integrity of. That I lead, that goes before me like a shield. Because I built it. It wasn't given. I built it. I wrestled to get it. I went and hunted in the wilderness for all the resources that I needed to build it so that I could find shelter while I was in isolation because I had nobody to help me build this thing up. I wish it was someone that would have come and said, do you need me to chop this wood? Do you need me to go get some water for you? It's getting dark. You're going to need to bunker down or else you're going to be cold tonight. I know what it's like. Many of you know what it's like to not have gathered all the resources you needed while the sun was shining. And now it's getting dark and you got to sleep in the wilderness at night with no covering. You know what it was like to get through it too. You remember them cold nights, friend. You'll never forget them. You remember what it was like being afraid that if you move wrong, the bears would hear you and they'd locate you. And then you got to think about how I'm going to get this bear off of me if it approaches me. All of these things, friend, you know. Yet when you come out of these situations, you're better. You're a rare bird, friend. I don't like to say that because it separates. But it must be said You are a rare bird. You're distinguished different. Surely you've got all the same setup as everybody else. Arms, legs, eyes, blood, bones. But consciously and spiritually, you have gone places that many have not gone before, because you have been exposed to things that a lot of people just haven't been exposed to. Gifts that did not look like gifts, yet through wrestling and repetition and isolation, they became powerful gifts that hell nor high water can take from you. Gifts that you were given so that you could go back to those environments, many of those environments, and bless. You could lend those gifts to those same people that you were separated from. Because it is in the separation and the isolation that you see the divide. You see the gap in what is true and what is not true. You see the gap in what you would like to experience and what is being experienced. You see methods of operation that could be implemented to better relationships with people. Not to justify low-level activities that people show, but to look at it as an opportunity to lend your wisdom, because you've been able to see a thing from another perspective that they just don't see. And through the vehicle of love, through the vehicle of ascension, of being able to have converted pain into power, not becoming bitter like them, not becoming envious like them, not becoming jealous like them, but ascending and turning pain into power and coming back and offering wisdom and truths and light to the darkness that prevails in many of those environments. I want to speak to this today. Chapter 43 of the book of Isaiah speaks to this. Friend, isolation and separation are the biggest blessings of your life. To be able to sit by yourself for an extended amount of time allows God to move through you in a way that distinguishes you. You will become a rare bird. When we look at the children of Israel, we look at a group of people that were first created as a unit. It was God's will for these people to take care of one another. It was God's will for the people to coagulate together and to hold one another accountable. They were judged as a unit. And this is what made their walk so difficult. It was so difficult for them to stay in alignment. It wasn't that they all did not have the idea to honor God's law. It was not that. It was that some did and some didn't. And because each man and each woman is sovereign, it was this wrestle amongst these people. You got 12 mighty nations of people. So you know that it was bound to be a problem. And they go through this whole tirade of back and forth, in and out. 1 foot in with alignment to God, doing what God has created them to do, and then 1 foot out doing what the Gentile nations do. I'm going to do a video on the Gentile nations and what exactly does that mean? What is a Gentile? And so what we find is that in the book of Isaiah, God gets to a point where he speaks through Isaiah that there will be a time where all of this will dissipate. There will be a breaking down of this. I needed you all to coalesce as a unit, for you to see exactly what I did at that time when I led the children out of Egypt, and I did all of these monumental things amongst the nations in making a name for you. I did this purposely so that they knew I had my hand on you as a unit. I needed to have this solidified amongst all of the Gentile nations that they know these are mine. Even though the Gentile nations are God's. But I'm doing something new here with this group. And that there are rules of engagement and dealing with these people. And I'm going to support that. I'm going to show that through my walk with these people openly in a way that I've not ever done. So that there's no second guessing amongst the Gentile nations as to God's love for the Hebraic house. But God says in the book of Isaiah of this love as well. He opens up in chapter 43. But now thus saith the Lord that created thee, O Jacob, and he that formed thee, O Israel. Fear not, for I have redeemed thee. I have called thee by thy name. Thou art mine. When thou passest through the waters, I will be with thee. And through the rivers, they shall not overflow thee. When thou walkest through the fire, thou shalt not be burned, neither shall the flame kindle upon thee. Nothing will come and harm you. You will go through it. It's going to look scary. People are not going to believe that you will make it through. But I got a promise over you, friend. And it's for you to know the promise. It's not for you to play yourself out of position because of your ignorance of my law. I've given you the law. Do the work to align to it and know it. And in you knowing it, you will know that you must go through these things. They must come against you. You must be afraid. There must be people around you that will look at you and wonder if you will make it through or not. There must be people around you that will swear up and down you won't. And you must pay attention to what they do. Because these are the ways that I show you truth. These are the things you get through isolation, friend. These are the things that isolation gives you. You are able to see things clearly. There is no facade. There is no lie. There's no fake happy. They took that mask off. That mask that I talked about before. Friend, they will take that mask off right in these times when they think that there's no way out. When they feel like there's no way. When they feel like there's no benefit to them, they will show you how they truly feel about you. And in that, there's so much wisdom. And God goes and he tells them all these things, who I am, who he is, and that they are his. And he reestablishes their knowing of him. For those that are aligned properly to know, I'm with you. Friend, come hell or high water, I'm with you. Through fire, I'm with you. And nothing will come against you if you align properly to me. You can bank on that. You can take that to the bank and cash that at any time, friend. It is yours. The only discrepancy comes is when you don't believe that, when you don't know that, when you question your own walk. You break your own kingdom down by doubt. Doubt in what? Your own activity. You condemn yourself. You either make yourself by way of your activity or you break yourself. And nobody knows better than you what is what. And he goes further and he tells the people, because there's this huge discrepancy as to who's God. The enemy is an imposter and he loves confusion. So what he will do is flood the hearts and minds and the earth with all kinds of information and propaganda, imposing himself as God, technicalities, half-truths, just like he did Eve. I'm God. Well, I am God, but I'm really not God. But he's not going to say that. He's going to say, I'm God. And it's for you and me to figure out, is he? But he knows that many of us will not do that. Because why? We've gotten enamored with the comfort. It takes work to do that. It takes a whole lifetime a lot of times, friend. It takes alignment to be blessed with the gift of isolation and separation so that you can learn that. But with many, when these gifts come upon them, they look at them as hardships and unnecessary changes and challenges that they don't want to deal with. So now what they do is they create avenues through underhanded activities to find an easy way out of what God is wrapped up with a bow on it and looks like hardships, but is really a gift, furthering them down the rabbit hole of self-condemnation and despair. Verse 10, ye are my witnesses, saith the Lord, and my servant whom I have chosen, that ye may know and believe me and understand that I am he. Before me, there was no God formed. There's nobody, friend. All these gods you thinking you're honoring, I'm the Alpha and the Omega. I'm the beginning and the end. It goes no further than me. There's nothing outside of me. There's nothing above me. And you've got my attention. And you're squandering. And you're playing with me. Neither shall there be after me. There's nothing beyond me. Nothing. There's nothing in this existence that is not of me. I don't care how grotesque it is. I don't care how divine it is. It's all me, baby. All day long. This is God. God is saying, it's your job to learn me, not to be afraid of me. It's your job to stand in the creation that I created you to be. You are an image of me. In my likeness. Man, I saw this earlier on social media. I saw this. Thus, you are ordained a certain level of authority, just as I have. But it's for you to ascend to receive it and stand in it. You just don't have it. You've got to achieve it. You've got to ascend to it. You've got to work for it. This life is a work in progress. And many are on vacation, focusing on things that will never serve them, undermining people that God sent to be in your life for a purpose greater than you could even imagine. And you're sabotaging them and making it so that those people will never deal with you again, friend. I am the Lord, and beside me there is no Savior. There's nobody that's going to come and save you from me. Regardless if you believe I exist or not, it has nothing to do with anything. You didn't rise to the occasion. You just get recycled until you figure it out. You just live hard lives until you figure it out. That's your decision. And many of you have fallen in love with the pain. You've fallen in love with the trauma. You've fallen in love with the abuse. You go out into the world and you parade yourself as if you are this and you are that, and you are standing in the integrity of what I created you to be, but you have no remnant, no expression of me. You're an imposter of me. You're made in my image and in my likeness, but you are not exhibiting the characteristics of me. You make deals with Gentiles and all of these other nations, siphoning off my image, siphoning off my power and all that I blessed you with, as if you're big, strong kings. And you go home and you just to befriend them, you'll do anything. Anything. You'll let them bend you over and everything else. Oh, but then you'll come out and you'll want to look big and strong. But then you go and behave like this in the image of God. It's amazing. There's no integrity. Nobody is sitting in here magnifying a sexual preference. We're not shedding a light on a sexual preference. We're shedding a light on a mindset. We're shedding a light on contradictions. Because even a woman, there are women walking around here like big, strong women, and that they're organically getting where they need to go by the will of God and by character and by all the attributes God imposed in them as a representation of who God is, as an image of God, and they're getting bent over too. It's a contradiction. You're not forging relationships out of integrity. You're forging relationships out of manipulation. There's no forging a relationship out of respect, mutual camaraderie. You're a beggar. You're begging. Literally. So I don't want anybody to try to dwindle this down into, oh, she's judging people. I'm not judging anybody. I'm just speaking a truth. You might as well say you're standing in the image of God and you're going out into the world and you're begging. It's a contradiction. This is what God is speaking to. A total contradiction. I have declared and have saved, and I have showed when there was no strange God among you. Therefore ye are my witnesses, saith the Lord, that I am God. Friend, and for God to feel as if he needed to go that far, he's showing care to our predicament, how far we've fallen in ignorance of God, because we rebuke separation and isolation. Friend, the only way you come to know God at this point in this junction in life, I'm here to tell you, is through separation and isolation. You following the crowd is going to lead you straight to hell. And I don't care if you don't believe in hell. Whether you think hell is a mythology or some kind of a science fiction thing, or you can equate hell to a terrible existence where you get nothing accomplished and you waste precious time focusing on things that will never serve you. It's all hell. It's all hellish. And if you can see in this life how life can turn into a hell. Imagine what it's like when you leave it. Now that. Isolation and separation is what is necessary at this junction. And I only speak these things because I know what I'm talking about. Because it has been the path that has forged me forward. It was the gift of isolation and separation that came like a very hurtful thing in the beginning. I wrestled with it. I didn't want it. Nobody wants to feel isolated or separated. But as I wrestled with it and I went on with life, I saw the beauty in it, as you do with anything you wrestle with for an elongated amount of time. I saw the beauty in it. I saw how God will speak through me, show me things, lead me, and direct my path. I began to see the world differently. Why? Because I didn't have all the tainted ideologies of other people in my ear. God would separate me from people. I would see people for who they were, and I didn't like what I saw. So there was no real need for me to really try to reforge that relationship. And if they were friends, I was in another state. I didn't have them close to rekindle a relationship with. So we suffered because of distances. But regardless, I did not have the relationships. And I began to forge relationships with what I did have, and that was God. And in God separating and isolating me, I got to be able to pinpoint where my blessings flowed and how they came. I got to distinguish the hand of God. I got to be able to learn my own level of discernment. I got to be able to trust my knowing. Bank on my decisions. I began betting on me and not on me and the support of others. I don't give a damn about the support of others. Honestly, I honestly, that is the worst place you can be in. You must find your support in God first. And this is what isolation and separation did for me. And so this is why I know that this is what the world needs. When we look at COVID and we see what happened in COVID, many people will say, oh, COVID was terrible and this and that. On one hand, it was terrible. People lost their lives in COVID and it was terrible. And regardless of how COVID came about, many people say it was staged, and many people say it was this. I'm not getting into that. I don't really know what that was. But I know that during COVID, God could use something that may have had an alternative intention to do God's will. Many people will be isolated and separated during COVID. Giving people a time out, giving people time to go within their own selves and forge relationships with themselves. Surely it was through the catalyst of fear. My isolation came through fear as well. Fear has a place in life. If it didn't, God wouldn't have created it. Fear is the avenue, the vehicle that leads you to where God needs you to be. And it allows you to establish a form of seriousness surrounding whatever the situation is that you are engaged within. Your focus is heightened. Your intentions are more fine-tuned. Thus, during COVID, there was a birth of newness at levels that most people would not have experienced because they were focused on the group. They were listening to what other people are doing and saying. They had their thoughts contaminated by the thoughts of the collective. But during COVID, many sat down with themselves during the repetitious daily activities, and they were able to hear. And in that hearing, they were able to act. God is speaking to doing a new thing. This group thing, we've done that already. I've shown my signs and wonders. I'm not a circus act. God is saying, I'm not here to give you signs all the time. The signs are up. They're done. Now it's internal dialogue between me and you, individually. Verse 18. Remember ye not the former things, neither consider the things of old. Just what I said. That group thing, done. It's not a group effort anymore. I said this all along when I first came forward. I would just be out here talking on my phone. And I've said this. That group thing is done, friend. It's no longer a group thing. I saw that during COVID. I saw this coming into play. It's an individual thing. Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall ye know it? Will you even know it when I do it? Or will you blame it on the devil? Will you be wise enough to wrestle with it, to stick with it, and to focus on it, and then see the beauty in it and make it serve you? Or will you be fearful and cast it out? And if you can't cast it out quickly, you'll go and do all kind of underhanded things. You'll allow underhanded thoughts to emerge from your own kingdom to get rid of it. It's your own kingdom that undermines you. It's not a devil. It's your thoughts. When things come upon you that you don't want, you will resort to underhandedness. You will resort to things that rob your kingdom just to get rid of it. When really, it's for you to wrestle with and overcome so it can gift you something new that distinguishes you and sets you apart, that grows you, that graduates you from where you are to where you need to go. How many of us are still at the same levels we've been at over the last 30, 20 years? We've just acquired new trinkets, but we're still doing the same thing. We have the same mindset. We've gone no further. Yet God has been sending you experiences, but you've been fighting them. And in fact, you've done everything you can to not align to them, even undermining your own kingdom. Crabs in a barrel mentality, fears of other people succeeding and you not succeeding, and now you go and do underhanded things against these people or against others so that you don't befall or you don't see yourself less than the next person. When in fact, God sent you around those people so that you all could build one another up. But because I see God in it and you don't, and I move in a particular manner with it and you don't, what was once supposed to be a powerful alliance has now turned into an enemy situation. It's amazing. This is what's going on, friend. And it takes isolation to see these things. Separation, stepping back, listening to yourself, trusting yourself, and allowing God to move in a way that you can hear him. The beast, behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall ye not know it? That right there lets you know that many are going to not see God in the experiences. They're going to think it's the devil. It's not the devil. It's your fear. It's fear. It's childhood trauma. It's insecurities. It's jealousy. It's envy. It's all those things. I will even make a way in the wilderness. I will do the impossible. And rivers in the desert. I will do the impossible. Nobody will be able to trace my hand. There will be many that will count you out, friend. And because they count you out, they will bless you with the wisdom of seeing them for who they are. And when you do, believe what you see. You must believe what you see, friend. And most importantly, when they count you out, you must remember the promises of God and not count yourself out. Because this chapter opened up, verse 2, with, when thou passest through the waters, I will be with thee. When them waters seem like they're prevailing and you're drowning, float. Don't fight it. Float. And through the rivers, they shall not overflow thee. Float. Let the current direct you. When thou walkest through the fire, thou shalt not be burned. Neither shall the flame kindle upon thee. Neither will it touch your skin. Neither will it burn a hair on your body. Yet everybody else will look at you and say it is impossible for them to get out of this. Let me betray them. Let me partner with their enemy and betray them. Let me turn my back on them and betray them. And at the end of the day, it will all bless you. Every bit of it. The beasts of the field shall honor me, the dragons and the owls, because I gave waters in the wilderness and the rivers in the desert to give drink to my people, my chosen. God is going to bring this thing full circle. Those that you think are demons and all this kind of stuff, friend, this thing has been like dropping a bag of beans on the ground in an enclosed environment. And you got to sweep them all back up. Gather them all back together. Nothing was broken. The beans are still whole. They just all must be gathered back together in the appropriate season. And the one that gathers them back together is wiser. They know, okay, I don't want to drop these beans anymore because I know what it took to gather these beans all back together again. This is the word for you today. Separation is necessary. We are in a season now where separation is monumental and separation is quite necessary. I wrote some notes here. Separation is necessary because group thinking has become contaminated. The hive mentality has become contaminated. It needs to each man needs to go into the kingdom of their own mind and forge a relationship with that which is within. And after a season or several seasons of that, then you come back into a group. That's the only way to purge it. is for God to purge it. And God can only purge it through separation. It resets your thinking. It takes all of the ideologies you had of the group and it sets it to the side. Because a lot of the ideologies of the group are things that we don't really agree with, but we go with it because we're like, okay, I might be wrong. But if I was to myself, I really wouldn't align to this. It resets all of that and sets it to the side and allows the flow of new ideas, new information, new experiences, a new level of knowing that you have of yourself to come forward. And in that you hear, you are distinguished. You can distinguish God's voice. A lot of times, y'all, we haven't been paying attention to the voice of God. We don't know God's voice in our own kingdom. You must separate. You must isolate to hear. Or else you are easily beguiled. And in this, God will allow you to go through certain experiences to know Him and to know yourself. This in itself allows you to foster a level of inner knowing and discernment that will be vitally necessary for you in moving throughout life. It is vital for you to trust your own self. Trust your decisions, trust your alignment, trust your discernment, vital. And you get all of this and more from going through phases of isolation and separation. Isolation and separation distinguishes you. It allows your gifts, your reasoning for creation and coming into this realm to flourish and come forward. This is my word for you today. I wrote separation, isolation builds the strength it takes for you to be useful. It builds that core value system that you will need so that you are useful to God. So that when God sends you forward, you pull from the right aspects that keep you in alignment to God. It makes you original, authentic. This is the birthing place of authenticity. Isolation and separation. There's no way around it. Honing in on oneself, focusing, and coming into the knowledge of oneself. And all of these attributes give you the ability to be useful, and they give you the ability to be authentic and original, and they give you the ability to lead legitimately. Not just because you're cute, not just because you're handsome, not just because you're bending over with people and you're friends with people and you're agreeing with people and all that kind of stuff, but because you actually have core values, you actually have something tangible and substantial to offer. And they also allow you to see the hand of God move in your life. They allow you to see what God spoke to in verse 2 of how He will protect you. Because they will come. They're going to come. It said, no weapon against me shall not ever prosper. It did not say that they won't try. It just said that they won't prosper. God said, you're going to go through waters, you're going to go through rivers, you're going to go through fire, but it won't do anything against you. You will see the result of your activity causing you to align even closer. This is my word of encouragement to you today. I love you so deeply. I'm always looking to be useful to you and come forth with things that I know that are truthful and relevant. Be good to yourselves and be good to one another. Peace and love.